Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I will be reviewing a different type of book, but a very exciting book to talk about, which is John Grisham's first book, A Time to Kill, from the Jake Brigance series. I will be honest, I had no intention of reading this book, but a friend of mine, Tim Mickles, he told me that he was going to read this book because he bought it, and I've been trying to encourage him and other people to read because I want everyone to read as much as they can. And so I said, if you read it, I'll read it. And he lived up to his end of the bargain. He read it, and he read it faster than he normally reads books. So I was like, well, I guess I have to read it now. And so I bought this at the used bookstore and picked it up, and I was like, all right, I don't really read legal thrillers. I've actually never read a full legal thriller. I've read sections of one, but never actually read one before. So I was like, I'll give it a go. This is Grisham's most best-selling book and his most famous one. And so I was excited to pick it up. And I started reading it, and I thought from page one, whoa, this is an interesting book. And I was hooked from the very beginning. And throughout the entire rest of the book, I could barely put it down. The only times I did put it down was because I had work or sleep or other homework to do. But I flew through this book. I was so engaged in it, and it just flies by, and you just can't put down it because of the suspense about the characters. You pretty much figure out what's going to happen in the end, but you have no idea how it will happen. And there are obstacles and curveballs that you're like, oh my, maybe it won't happen. Maybe he's going to be found guilty. Maybe he'll lose. Maybe this was all for nothing. And yet it's still an impressive display of the characters somehow getting through this ordeal and going on through the next step of the legal process. And as someone who doesn't really know much about legal processes, I think John Grisham does an excellent job of trying to explain everything as detailed as he can. He even talks about how there are certain liberties given in the book, but overall, it's very he says it's as accurate as he could try to make it. And so I was very interested in finding out how the legal processes worked. And I was so angry throughout the book at some of the characters because I thought they were so wrong and that their interpretation of the legal work was so wrong. And yet it was still well written. Like, there were times throughout this book that I wanted to yell at the book. You know when your dad is watching the news and he yells at the TV, or in some cases, if you watch the news and you yell at the TV, that type of thing. That's how I felt reading this book. I wanted to yell at the characters so much. I was so invested in finding out what happened. And there are excellent themes about exploring racism and exploring the justice system and exploring the way that society is structured and exploring the way that politics works in this sense. There's a ton of that in this book, and I thought it was just excellently well written. The first thing I'll say in that sense is the protagonist is very complex. Jake Brigance, who is the attorney, does not do all of his options because he believes in the character's innocence, that he believes in the justice system. He does these things because he thinks in the long run it's going to make him money. He thinks it's going to get him press notoriety. And deep down he thinks maybe the character should get off as innocent, but overall, he does it for non-altruistic reasons. And it's very interesting to read a character like that. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. Most people would go for the purely altruistic type of protagonist. So I was very interested in that. I was also surprised at how John Grisham wrote someone who was similar to himself, still a lawyer, still both of them from Mississippi. But the difference is that Jake Brigance is a conservative Republican, and John Grisham leans more to being a liberal Democrat and actually has served in a position as a Democrat. And so it's interesting for him to write someone from a different point of view, and it shows some excellent writing style choices by John Grisham. And of course, the plot is about this young girl, this young black girl. She's raped by these two white men, and her father goes and kills those two men, and the father was put on trial for murder. And the whole time, they're trying to get him off on an insanity plea. And it is engaging from beginning to end, and I thought every single one of the characters involved was interesting. At the beginning of the book, I was really interested in the sheriff, Ozzy, who I thought was really funny. And then in the middle of the book, I was really interested in Jake Brigance. And then at the end of the book, I was interested in Roark and other characters. And so it was really well balanced and really well written as a whole. And what I would consider to be the big twist of this book happened not anywhere near where I thought the big twist, or in the way that I thought it would happen. So it was very well done. Talking about some of the characters, I really liked the characters of Lucien Wilbanks and Harry Rex Vonner and Roark, or as some says it, Roark. They were all very funny. I was laughing throughout at their scenes. When Roark is basically trying to interrogate Jake about his political positions, oh, it was hilarious. And when the three of them, they just want to drink the whole time, and Jake's like, guys, let's be sober. Let's focus on this. Oh, it's absolutely hilarious. And I was like, I want a buddy cop series. I just want a series of novels featuring the three of them in the background on a Jake Brigance case. You know, Jake Brigance, he's doing the main stuff off the page, and instead you're getting the three of them sitting around the table talking about stuff. Oh, I couldn't get enough of them. I thought they were hilarious, and I really enjoyed their characters. Another thing that I really was interested about was the middle portion of the book. The biggest struggle in most books is to keep the middle good. Books have usually really gripping beginnings and really well paid off endings, but the middle is the portion where you lose the most audience, and the middle is the portion where even your diehard fans usually have trouble. But the middle portion of this book was utterly brilliant. It kept me engaged. I had never once at any point in the book thought, if this is getting boring or this is too long. This is a 600-page mass market paperback book. I guess in hardcover it'd probably be more like 450 or 500 pages, but it's still a pretty decently long book. So you'd think that there would be slow parts in here, and in my opinion, none of that was slow. I thought it was fast cover to cover. I thought it was excellently paced. And I was also very captured by the visual aspect of the storytelling. I could see all of the scenes playing out. You know, I recently, after finishing this book, I immediately went and watched the movie A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel Jackson and others. And I thought it was a decent movie. It wasn't amazing, but it was a decent movie. But a lot of the visuals that I got from the book actually matched in the movie, and it shows how... And I knew nothing about the movie going in. I hadn't even looked at the poster going into the book. So I was very much just reading this as an original story, and it was so visually vivid that I was very impressed by it. As with... You know, I talked about the deeper themes. There's also questions about the death penalty about the book. There's questions about how juries are selected. And he's not a one specific, like, this is the answer. Like this, the death penalty is wrong. It's nuanced. And same with jury selections, things like that. It's a very good nuanced discussion in here in the guise of a fiction book, a legal thriller. But it has questions about society. Those are the best types of books where you understand the themes. They're not hitting you over the face, but you understand the themes, and yet it's still such a fun ride to read. I must warn you that this book is set in the South, and because it deals with all these race things, the bad redneck characters in the book use the N-word a lot, which is a very tough thing to read. And the rape is very vivid in the book and is very hard to read, as are some of the other very gross, very horrifying scenes, and some of the language used in the book is very strong. So I will put that warning out there that it might not be the book for you if you can't be able to read these types of things. And one more small detail is I also read the book when I was in high school, To Kill a Mockingbird, which I thought was a very boring book. I thought it was a very middling book. I thought that it didn't have enough action. I thought that it was not engaging or exciting. This book takes all the themes that To Kill a Mockingbird has and tells them in a much more engaging way, in my opinion. And so I liked this book much more than that. So overall, as you could probably expect, I absolutely loved almost everything about this book. It was brilliant. I was on the edge of my seat. I loved the themes explored. I loved the characters. I am so down with John Grisham's writing style. I need to read more of his books. And as I think about it right now, as of this moment, it is my favorite book that I've read this year. Solid entry by John Grisham. So that is this book. I give it a 9.9 out of 10. Solid book. Absolutely stellar, solid book. So I absolutely recommend you read this if you can handle the stuff that's in it. But if you've read this book, let me know down in the comments section what your thoughts on it are. Did you really enjoy the book? Did you not enjoy the book? Do you not like the themes that are explored? I love hearing this discussion. Also, please subscribe to the channel. I have many books discussions. This is my first legal thriller, but I have many other genres represented in my discussions on my YouTube channel, and I will, of course, be reading more legal thrillers. If there's anything like this, I will absolutely keep reading them. So until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.